Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very exciting video and it is going to be a Kindle unboxing. I have literally wanted a Kindle for a very long time, but I never got around to purchasing one, and on Prime Day I decided to just go for it because they were having a great deal. So if you are looking to buy a Kindle, I highly recommend waiting for a sale like that because I think it was like 45 to 50% off. On my channel lately, you have probably noticed that I am doing more videos about books, and that is very intentional. Books are a huge part of my life and reading is one of my biggest hobbies. So I always want to be producing content that reflects all of my hobbies and all aspects of my life, not just my life as a college student. I don't intend on being a student forever anyway, so I just thought it would be good to branch out, and now with my Kindle I will be able to read even more than I have been reading before, which will be amazing. So the Kindle that I got is the regular model in white. I feel like this Kindle is good enough for my needs. I know there are some other models that have some added benefits, but this was more than enough for myself, and I also got the 3 free months of Kindle Unlimited with this purchase, so I am very excited to use that. There are a ton of Kindle Unlimited books that I want to end up reading. So yeah, let's just unbox this and set it up. So it came in this very small box, and I'm just gonna tear it open on the back here. Hey guys, so I have been using my Kindle for a few days now, and I'm going to be giving you all my thoughts on how the device works and if I would recommend it to others. I've split my thoughts up into a few different categories, so we have a comparison to other Kindle models, battery life and display, Kindle Unlimited, formatting / user experience, and overall reading experience. Just for some context, I got the 10th generation Kindle without lock screen ads and with 3 free months of Kindle Unlimited, and I will leave a link to my exact model in the description of this video. In this section, I will be talking about why I chose the 10th generation Kindle over a Kindle Paperwhite or a Kindle Oasis. For me personally, I didn't feel like the added features on the Paperwhite or the Oasis were worth it. Unless I really adore a book and I know that I want to reread it, I will be removing books from my Kindle library. So because of that, and because of the fact that I have to return library ebooks to my library and I can't keep them on my Kindle, I didn't feel like I needed more storage than the 8 gigs that my Kindle comes with. And the lower resolution on this model wasn't really a deal breaker for me because I'm not picky about the resolution of a device that I'm just going to use to read text. I don't really care how pictures and things like that are more obviously lower resolution on this device because I don't read many books with pictures. I also knew that the display would be extremely easy on my eyes because just about every reviewer of this device has said that, so I didn't feel like I needed an adjustable warm light, which is included on the Paperwhite and on the Oasis. Also, the Kindle that I got has the smallest display, and I actually wanted the smallest display possible because I knew that it would be easier for me to hold it with one hand, which I will revisit later in this video. I also think I briefly mentioned this earlier, but on Amazon's Prime Day there was a huge sale on Kindles, and I believe I got mine for around half the price of what the original price would have been, so I felt like it was the best possible deal for me. Overall, this Kindle gets the job done, and I don't regret the fact that I didn't spend extra money on a more advanced model. That's not to say that I will never upgrade, but I don't see myself wanting to upgrade unless this Kindle stops working completely. If you're debating between different models, find a list of all the different features and ask yourself if you really need the extra features, because I read for around 3 to 6 hours a day, and even after my Kindle got here, I don't feel like I need any of the extra features. However, I know some people really need more storage or a warm light or something else, so it's definitely up to your personal preference. Also, I chose not to have lock screen ads because I found them pretty annoying and I thought it was worth the extra $10 to get rid of them. So as for the battery life, one of the biggest selling points of Kindles is the fact that you supposedly don't have to charge them for weeks. I really wanted to test this out for myself, so I got my Kindle on Wednesday of last week and I wrote my notes for this video on the Sunday after that. On Wednesday, I fully charged my Kindle, and on Sunday, my battery was at 30%. So the battery definitely lasts a much longer time than my iPhone battery or my MacBook battery, but it doesn't last weeks as advertised. For some context, my Kindle is always connected to Wi-Fi, and during the daytime I keep my brightness at 0 because I usually have enough natural light to see the words without any front light from the Kindle itself. During the nighttime, I just turn the brightness up to 1. I really don't require that much light to read comfortably, and I think a lot of other people will feel the same way too. So I don't think my display is affecting the battery too much. However, I feel like I probably read a little bit more than the average person would, especially since it's the summertime now and I have less responsibilities. I haven't looked up statistics or anything, but just from what I've observed, I feel like most people who are into reading only read for around an hour a day, whereas I have been reading for hours upon hours. And I feel like that is the biggest reason why a single charge did not last weeks for me. Also, I know that keeping devices connected to Wi-Fi at all times can also have an effect on the battery, so that could be another reason, but honestly, I'd rather charge my Kindle about once a week than disconnect and connect to Wi-Fi as needed. That just sounds like too much of a hassle for me. I just thought I'd mention that in case you do want to avoid charging your Kindle on a regular basis. And I also am not an expert on rechargeable batteries at all, but I've noticed that when the temperature is super hot, my iPhone and MacBook batteries tend to drain faster, and it has been super hot both in and outside of my house. I think my room is around 80 degrees in the summertime, and that could be another reason why my Kindle's battery is not living up to the advertised battery life. I also really quickly wanted to talk about the charging process itself. The Kindle comes with a charging cord, but it does not come with a charging block, which was fine with me because I have way too many charging blocks just laying around, and a lot of them were compatible with the cord, but it's just something to keep in mind because a lot of people do end up purchasing a new charging block for their Kindle specifically. The end of the cord that goes into the charging block is a USB-A port, and the end that goes into your Kindle is a USB 2.0, so it's definitely a little bit of an outdated cord. Most other devices use USB-C now, so that's just something to keep in mind because if you lose or break the cord that the Kindle comes with, you probably will have to purchase a new one. I know other Kindle models have USB-C ports, so maybe it's worth the upgrade if you want to have more accessible charging. As for the display itself, it's definitely much easier on the eyes than what I was doing before, which was reading books on my Kindle app on my iPhone. The display is front lit, whereas most other devices are backlit, and you can definitely tell the difference, and it feels a lot better, especially since my brightness is either at 0 or 1. I've never had to use a brightness other than 0 or 1, but I have only been reading indoors so far. Maybe if you're sitting by the pool on a sunny day or something, you may have to turn up the brightness a bit, but I personally haven't tested that out yet. As I mentioned before, I got 3 free months of Kindle Unlimited with my purchase, so let's discuss my thoughts on that. First of all, I think it is an amazing deal, especially if you read a lot of romance books, because there are a ton of popular romances available on Kindle Unlimited. The ones that I have downloaded so far are Under Lock by Mariana Zapata, Culty by Mariana Zapata, and Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas, and I will be discussing all of my thoughts on those in my next couple of reading wrap-up videos, but I just thought I would mention them because they are relatively popular titles in the romance realm, and they are all available on Kindle Unlimited along with a ton of other books on my TBR. Anyway, this segment is going to be extremely short because I have almost nothing negative to say about this. I highly recommend Kindle Unlimited, and I think that the selection is worth the price. However, I will be canceling my trial after the 3-month period is over because I can't comfortably afford to pay the extra $10 a month right now while I am a full-time college student, and I also don't think think I'll be using it as much once school picks back up. I also have a great selection of Kindle ebooks from my public libraries, which I am very grateful for, so I don't feel a strong need to have access to the Kindle Unlimited selection at all times. Someday in the future, I will definitely be subscribing to it again, so if it's within your budget, I definitely recommend it. There's a good amount of options when it comes to formatting on Kindles, but the only thing I changed on my Kindle is the font size. I changed it to size 8 because I love having huge text. Even when I was just using the Kindle app on my iPhone, I made the font size huge. I don't know if it's just in my head, but I feel like it helps me read a lot faster. Honestly, I feel like the formatting is just up to you and what your preferences are. I don't really have anything that I would strongly recommend. You can change a lot of things aside from just font size, and I will list all the settings on the screen. I don't know what it is, but I genuinely prefer the formatting of Kindle ebooks over the formatting of physical books. After I got my Kindle, I've still been reading physical books as well, and I'll be honest, I look forward to my Kindle books more than I look forward to reading my physical books. I just feel like it's so much easier to get through books on my Kindle. As for the user interface of the Kindle, it is almost exactly like the mobile Kindle app, so it didn't feel like I had to learn how to use my Kindle since I've already been using the app for years. The screen is definitely designed for reading and reading only, so sometimes when you're scrolling through the Kindle store on your Kindle, it might lag or delay a bit, but that doesn't really bother me because most of my time is spent reading and not browsing the store. Overall, I really love my Kindle, and the reading experience has been amazing for me, so I thought it was a worthy investment. To make it even more comfortable, I added a pop socket to the back of my Kindle, and I really think it made it even more easy for me to carry my Kindle with one hand. I got this idea from Larry Reads, so shout out to her. I looked up the weight of the Kindle, and it is about 20 grams lighter than my iPhone XR, so it's definitely on the very light side, and I don't think the weight is an issue at all. As for getting books onto my Kindle, the process is very simple. Obviously, you can buy Kindle ebooks that you can keep forever, and the two that I bought are The Goal and Of Beast and Beauty. The process for that was very easy. I just went to the Kindle store on my Kindle and I purchased them from there. You can also buy them off of Amazon's website on a different device and send them directly to your Kindle. I've also been using Kindle Unlimited, like I said before, and the process for that is exactly the same as getting paid Kindle ebooks. The final way that I've been getting books on my Kindle is by using the Libby app on my phone to temporarily check out ebooks from my local libraries, and I highly recommend seeing if your library has Libby. As for who I think should get a Kindle, I think that if you're just starting to get into reading, you should try using the Kindle app on your phone first, because that is the most similar experience to reading on a Kindle, and if you like that experience and if you want to separate your reading from your phone, then definitely get a Kindle. That's one of the biggest reasons why I got a Kindle. The Kindle app gets the job done for sure, but I just wanted something separate for all my reading because it's a lot easier for me not to get distracted when I'm reading on my Kindle versus when I'm reading on my phone, and Kindles have great benefits as well. I know that Kindles are not for everyone, and there are still a ton of people who prefer reading physical books over using e-readers, and that is totally fine, but there's really no way to know which side of the debate you fall on until you try reading on a device for yourself, so it's good to try it on a device that you already have rather than going straight for a Kindle and potentially realizing that you don't like it after you've already made the purchase. So to summarize this whole video, I think if you find yourself reading at least a few times a week, a Kindle is a worthy investment, and I really don't think you need to spend money on an upgraded version. I hope this video was helpful if you're thinking about buying a Kindle, and I really hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you next week.